Hey guys, it's me, the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Get Curried. I've shown you a lot of tikkas and kebabs in the past. Today is yet another one, but this one is my absolute all-time favorite because it's made in a jiffy and it uses all protein. Let's begin with Kache Keeme Ke Kebab. Now talking about Kache Keeme Ke Kebab, what does this mean? What is Kacha Keema? Kacha Keema basically is raw meat which is pounded or minced. Now this is hand cut. What I do is whenever I'm using raw meat or goat meat, I prefer using hand meat or hand cut meat when I'm making something like a keema or a kache gosht ka kebab like we are seeing today. In case you're doing something like a shami kebab, then always use a boti. In case you're doing say galati, then you can also use a mince which is machine made. So with every kebab, it becomes distinct, it becomes peculiar, and it also becomes the signature of that particular kebab and that particular cuisine on the larger space. Now Kacha Keema, now of course, quite a difficult word or quite a different word, but why Kacha Keema? Because this is a very quick recipe. This is not like a shami kebab where you have to cook it for like half an hour, 45 minutes, ensure that the meat gets cooked perfectly well, and then you shred it into its fibers. This is Kacha Keema, raw meat. You just add in ingredients and that's where you are. Now this is Kacha Papita or raw papaya. Now this is going to be used as a tenderizer. If you have seen the recipe of Galavati kebab or Galati kebab, which of course the description box will have the link to, this also is used in that recipe because this works as a wonderful tenderizer. Now this is still easier to source. This is still easier to kind of get in the market. In case you are a little adventurous, you can also look for kachri or kachri powder, which also works as a wonderful tenderizer. Not a very usual ingredient in a pantry, but if you're the adventurous kind, you will look for it. Add half a teaspoon while kind of mashing the entire meat, and you get a must, wonderful, tender kebab. Let's move on to making a paste of ginger, garlic, green chilies, and papaya with its skin on. Let's begin with ginger. The skin, of course, is scraped. The ginger is washed. Garlic, without its skin. The next is the addition of green chilies. I'm using chilies of two varieties, the spicier one and the non-spicy one. The non-spicy one of course has more flavor and the spicy one of course has the pungency and the heat. The next ingredient is a tenderizer, and that is, like I said, raw papaya. But it's important to remove the pith and the seeds because they're bitter in nature. Let's slice this roughly. Let's add the papaya also in this, which is sliced, and I'm reminding with its skin on. And let's run this into a smooth fine paste. With this, our paste is done and ready. Let's transfer this straight into the raw meat. Ensure that you scrape it to the last bit. Let's add in some more ingredients, beginning with chopped red onions. Let's transfer the onions as well. Along with this, finely chopped mint leaves, finely chopped coriander leaves. Well, in case you're washing the leaves and using them directly, ensure that you pat dry the mint leaves as well as the coriander leaves, because in this you do not want any water. Please remember this. Like I said, it's Kache Keeme Ke Kebab. It does not use any cornstarch, no gram flour, no potatoes, no breadcrumbs in any form. So no soaked bread in water or in milk, or no breadcrumbs. Remember this. We're not coating it in panko, we're not rolling it in vermicelli, not coating it in rava or semolina. It's just Kache Keeme Ke Kebab. Remember this. Very interesting. Let's add in few spices, beginning with garam masala powder. This is of course home ground garam masala. To this, I'm adding in a touch of red chili powder. Now this is again depending on how much spice you or your family are okay with, because there's already green chili in the recipe. But because it's a raw meat kebab or a Kache Keeme Ke Kebab, is going to be a little mellow because it's of course it's all protein. Remember this. You do not want it to get colored or anything like that. Just natural flavor of meat. Turmeric powder, again just a touch of it, not too much. Coriander. Now this is again a very interesting ingredient, especially in this kebab, because it gives you that bite. This is unroasted coriander seed. Very simple. You just take it, crush it, blitz it in a blender, and that's where you are. a teaspoonful, maybe a little more, because this is going to be nice and pronounced. And finally, last but not the least, salt as required. Now, because this is a all protein kebab or a Kache Keeme Ke Kebab, the salt needs to be slightly lesser, because when you fry it, everything is going to get dehydrated or evaporate, and that's where the salt kind of gets us slightly more accentuated. Remember this. Let's mix all of this together. While I'm mixing this, I'm also ensuring that the pan is lit here. It has to be nice and hot with, of course, vegetable oil. Now, ideally these kebabs are deep fried, but I choose the method of shallow frying because the question that looms on your head is, what do you do with all the remaining fried oil? Shallow frying is the trick. The keema mixture is done and ready. Once the color of the meat changes, well, initially it's nice and bright pink, but as we keep mixing it, it starts getting a tint of green, and it also gets the color from the spices. That's why you know this is done and ready. Do not wait for anything on the planet. Do not keep this in the refrigerator or anything for that matter. Do not even keep this aside for 10 minutes, because everything else in the kebab mixture will start leaching water or moisture, and then it'll become very difficult to make the kebabs. Let's make these little cutlets and straight drop them in oil. Now, once you place the 10th kebab, now this is like a thumb rule. Once you place the 10th kebab in oil, you flip the first one. Now, I have actually reached 11 because the pan allowed so. So there you go. In the same sequence that you placed it is how you'll keep flipping it. Now, this is a basic thumb rule while frying anything, whether it's a cutlet or a tikki or a kebab, just absolutely anything. Well, this is how you get absolute even brownness or caramelization on anything. The kebabs are well fried on both the sides. Let's remove these and transfer these on an absorbent tissue paper. Well, if you notice, from the original shape, like a cutlet almost, it shrinks, and that is a sign of the kebab turning out well, because the proteins have now cooked in the kebab, there's steam which is passed through and through, and there are no chances of it remaining raw. Similarly, let's start frying the rest of the kebabs. Our kebabs are all fried and ready. Time to serve this and plate this. With this, our Kache Keeme Ke Kebabs are done and ready. While I have served this with mint leaves, some sliced onions and lemons, you can serve this with some additional pav, with some more chutneys, and go all out and impress your family. On that note, stay tuned for more such quick, simple, easy recipes. Bye for now.